Cameras rolling? Awesome. My name is Iskandar. I'm going to teach you how to stop second guessing yourself as a leader. This is broken down into 4 chapters. These are what worked for me when I was in your position and I was trying to figure out how to stop doubting myself. Let's get into it. So, you clicked on the video and you know what you are looking for. You've been struggling with this for a while and need something to get you out of this rut. Decision making is hard, as is, and we can all agree on that. Here's the thing, you're in a precarious position, it sucks, and you have to do it. You're the only person who can, right? As a leader, you will always take all of the blame and give away all of the credit. The best leaders are those who understood this early. Let's get into part 1, data and course correction. So, one of the biggest reasons that leaders take so long to make a decision is fear. Specifically, fear of the unknown. You've been here, you know what you want to do, you're leaning towards a certain direction, but you're afraid to make the jump because you don't have 100% of the information. This slows everything down to a halt. You now feel like some unknown variable is going to slip through the cracks, completely derail everything, destroy the entire process, and backfire on you horribly. It never does. That's the thing, right? A decision is not a life sentence. Course correction is always available after making a decision. And the best part is that it is almost always the best course of action too. A fast decision that is mostly right is better than a slow decision that took too long to make and that never happened. You want to identify core pieces of information that are guaranteed to affect the outcome and have an impact on it. And once you have 70% or more, then you want to make the call. Because in the worst case scenario, you are mostly right and you add some tweaks, you adjust it a little bit. Best case, you are way ahead of everybody because you were not afraid to act, because you had the courage to make a decision. That is data and course correction. The second part is decision and outcome. I'm going to start with a difficult truth. Good decisions can have bad outcomes, and bad decisions can have good outcomes. You don't have absolute control over what happens in the end. You do have control over the systems and process that you follow, over the quality of your work, and the frameworks that you use. You have control of your response to situations and their consequences. You want to understand that when you made that choice, you made it with the information that you had at that point in time. It may not have been perfect or complete. Maybe you missed something that you thought you knew, or a concept that you weren't fully sure about, right? And that impacted the end result. But the best that you can do in this situation is to just deal with it. It already happened. It's not going to change. So start picking up the pieces, put things into your own hands, and do the cleanup. And you have to stop worrying, because the worry is what is ruining your process. It is really what is helping that doubt build up. That is decision and outcome. The next section is team impact. You have to remember that you are a leader. You have people who rely on you. Their work, their focus, and their efforts all rely on you. You have the power to completely redirect their efforts and directly impact their work through your decisions. You have to be smart about this. Okay? Check in with your team. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them how things are going. You want to announce big decisions to gauge how they will be perceived, how things will go. You want to return to old decisions to review them. You want to see what your team liked and disliked. You want to see what you need to keep and what you need to change, what was good and what could need improvement. Because you want to give them a reason to you want to have them an impact on the process. You want to give them a reason to trust you, to think that their input matters. Because when they really believe that and when their impact does matter, then they trust your decisions. They're not afraid to tell you when they don't think something will work or how it will affect them or what the outcome might look like in that scenario from their experience. And that is the ultimate safeguard that prevents your team from turning into an echo chamber of yes men who just affirm anything that you say. That is team impact. The next part is decision making framework. So, the decisions that you make from a position of power always have an outsized impact on your work, your environment, the people on your team. Lots of pressure makes it hard to understand if you're doing the right thing or not. It makes it difficult to make up your mind about a decision because it's just so much to think about. It's hard to stick to it. This doubt causes unnecessary delays. It stops you from making decisions because you make them on a case by case basis. And that strips you of following a process. You already know this, but you need a framework. You need a system, some kind of checklist to follow every time you're making decisions. This is going to accompany your skills. This is going to help you make them faster and more consistent, right? And it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to exist. You don't need a 10-page document that you fill out every time you think about what you're going to have for lunch. But you do need to have some kind of process that you follow when you make decisions that matter. Here I have some frameworks that I made. These are just quick off the top of my head, right? These are templates. You're not supposed to use them as they are. You're supposed to adjust them to your situation, fix them up, make sure they work for you. For example, the first one is 4 clear problems. There are 3 parts. Identify the problem, identify the solution, and identify steps necessary to get from problem to solution. So, let's say we're not making enough money. Our solution is that we're going to post more ads. Awesome. How are we going to get from making less money to posting more ads? What we're going to do is we're going to record more ads, we're going to write more ads, we're going to make sure our ads are seen by more people. We're going to invest more money into that. Boom, money's back in, right? The next one's for planning and development. This one, similar kind of thing, right? What is the current state of the situation? What is the expected state of the situation? And what are the necessary steps for progression from current to expected? So we're making $10,000 a month. We want to be making $20,000 a month. What do we need to do? Double our ads, hire more people, deliver more products, make our services better. All of those are going to contribute to your development to get to that expected end result. And then the third one, this one I like personally a lot, right? It is to make decisions faster. It makes you think about the consequences of the choice. So think about the consequences of a choice in 10 minutes. Think about the consequences of a choice in 10 months. And think about the consequences of a choice in 10 years. All of these will have an impact on the choice that you make because you will see a broader range. You will understand really the scale of the choice that you're making. So let's say there's somebody in your company who's not doing so well and you have to fire them, right? What is the immediate consequence within 10 minutes? You have to go have a difficult conversation. Hey John, this partnership isn't working anymore. You're not meeting your target requirements. Boom. 10 months. Well, within 10 months, either A, John is replaced and we have somebody who's doing his job, so we don't have to worry about anything, or B, John knew something that was integral to our operations and now we're behind because John's not there anymore. And I think about the consequences in 10 years. Will you be sitting in the boardroom in 10 years saying, maybe we shouldn't have let go of John? He was a pretty good guy. How likely is that to happen, really? Right? So it puts things into perspective. It adds scale to what you're doing. And that is why I like it. You want to use any of these, or all of them, or make your own, which is what I would recommend, right? Again, these are templates. You can grab pieces from them and use them to build what you need to make, right? But you still need to have something that is consistent among all of your decisions. Something that you're always keeping in the back of your mind, something that's always there, keeping you on track, something that makes sense and is not based on your mood or your emotions. That is what this section is about frameworks that are consistent across all of your decisions. And to finish off, decision making is a core skill that all successful leaders have mastered, and you are one step closer to that achievement. At its base, making a decision is simple. You look at what you have, you say what you will do, and you do it. In practice, it is a lot more difficult because there is data that you need to know about. There is nuance, there is doubt. All these things, they make it hard to make a choice. Chapter by chapter. In chapter 1, we looked at how data can affect decision making and how you should make decisions fast and fix mistakes if they happen after they've been made, rather than wait too long and let a good opportunity to act fizzle out. In chapter 2, we examined how to separate decisions from outcomes and to understand what we do and do not have control over. Our systems and processes are always and will always be yours to adjust and to change. In chapter 3, we spoke of the impact it will have on your team and how to cultivate an environment of people who all contribute to the decision and are unafraid to question outcomes and situations. This builds stronger teams that are better at facing difficulties. In chapter 4, we discussed the pressure of decision making and how to combat doubt with consistent frameworks that aid us in this process. All of these are essential aspects of building up confident and sound decision making skills that get you and your team to where you need to be. All of these parts are just small aspects of a bigger whole. And that bigger whole is how you stop second guessing yourself as a leader. You have to commit to the decisions that you make and analyze them thoroughly before and after they happen. We talked about how a bad decision isn't always a bad decision because you can fix it. Not all decisions have the exact outcomes that you want. How you should check in with your team, what the decisions should be like, how you should follow consistent frameworks and systems, and how to do all of that together. To finish off, again, my name is Iskandar. I just taught you how to stop second guessing yourself as a leader. This video is about 15 minutes long. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I like answering questions, right? Otherwise, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff, right? That is what I have for you today. Have a good night, and see you tomorrow.